Alright guys, today I'm gonna give you guys my very first impression and thoughts about Monster Hunter Wilds. This is not a review because the game hasn't fully been came out yet. This is my very first start and playing the beta version that has came out on the PS5 and of course on the PC or port itself. Both version itself has its own form of problems, but generically they all have at least they're suffering from the same thing a little bit, at least at this point. Overall thoughts if it comes to Monster Hunter itself and being a long-standing fan from both software itself and Monster Hunter and generally, I have to say it's extremely positive. From the gameplay loop, from the world designing, the beauty aspect of the game itself, and the immaculate details they have put in when it comes to your character creation. Of course, the hairline, the different form of models you can choose, the skin colors, just every single thing that you have into this game is really, really immaculate. Beside, of course, the character creation, another thing that is truly visual and you come to realization is the gameplay loop and generally. Compared to the previous Monster Hunter World and Monster Hunter it's generally, now Monster Hunter World is very much an open world feeling, where you have around 100 players into the player hub itself that you can interact with, and you can see them roaming around as you are engaging different form of monsters. From where you start from your gameplay hub to the world itself, from where you do your hunting, is extremely fast. So you don't have any form of loading time. It's literally from one zone to another zone you go straight in an open world and go straight to your targets and where you want to, of course, hunt the monster you want to hunt. The another thing I found extremely breath of fresh air, and it comes to how they put the quest system. In the previous Monster Hunter, that we always had to go back to the hub itself after we finish, and of course, and quests, and then we have to go back to the world itself and hunt the enemies again, hunt the monster we need, and over. Now it's not the case. Now you always have your partner with you, and you always have an accessibility to go after a new quest. So you can literally roam yourself into the wild itself as long as you want and need, and hunt every single monster, do every single quest as much as you want and over again, without you even once going back to the hub itself. It is such a massive quality of life change that I've personally found a breath of fresh air, because the one thing I always found quite annoying previous Monster Hunter, that you finish a quest, that you're forced to go back to your hub and then take a new quest and go back to the wilds again. So there's a system they completely changed. That is something I really can applaud, and generally itself. Another thing I need to add if it comes to the combat and the gameplay loop and generally, beside the hundreds of different type of weapons that you have in your arsenal, from bows, from guns, for dual wielding weapons, from great swords, for long swords, katanas, just name it. Monster Hunter Wilds has added a very new system when it comes to the focus points. And the gist of it comes to that you are focusing your attacks to a very specific area where you wounded your targets, so you can deplete him much faster. It's like a visual point you can see where the target is actually wounded. With a focus point, you can actually target towards that area to deplete a little bit faster. It's a very cool mechanic that they added to the gameplay loop and the gameplay mechanics generally. Gives you a little bit more of a true hunter area, because you're truly hunting the specific area if it comes to killing your foes. Beside the focus point as well, the one thing that they trying to emphasize is your terrain itself. It's very important that you know your knowledge of the terrain itself, because you can lure certain enemies and certain bosses to certain areas, so it comes towards your advantage itself. So terrain knowledge and really seeing the surrounding in a proper way is something that's very important, and how you engage yourself as a hunter itself. And the second thing, you also need to be aware, if you're roaming across the world itself, you will find encounters of other animals attacking you while you are actually engaging in the combat itself. So have knowledge of your surroundings is extremely important. That's something I found it extremely cool when it comes to how I was engaging my experience when it comes to being a true monster hunter itself. That made me feel like that the world itself around me was living. I was part of a unique universe, an integrated universe that is breathing, living, and actually interacting with me in it as well. It's something I found very, very cool. Now, speaking about the player engagement and a bit of the multiplayer, the one thing I found very cool, like I mentioned before, the map of Monster Hunter itself can wield around 100 players itself. As you are roaming around the map and this vast open world, you will encounter other players like here itself that can naturally come and help you and aid you in your quest and defeating enemies. That little player engagement truly makes you feel like you are part of a unique universe, that you are part of an integrated universe together with your fellow hunters. Beside, of course, the natural interaction if it comes to player engagement, you also have something it's like a flare, an SOS flare that is well known within the Monster Hunter universe, where you pop up an SOS flare and any player in the surrounding can see it in the quest line where they actually can engage it and accept to come and help you. It's a very unique way that they integrated the multiplayer aspect. That is something I truly found that they polished it so well that it feels like the world is truly living now. The one thing I found it, and it comes to the previous Monster Hunter, is that the multiplayer aspect, the queuing of multiplayer aspect, it wasn't really the fastest thing. It comes to how the world engages itself, how you find other players. But right now, it comes to especially in the beta version itself, you pop an SOS and less than a minute you're gonna find 10 players surrounding you and trying to help you, all together tackling a unique, powerful foe, all together as a community. It's super cool, it's super engaging, and I absolutely love the form of engagement in the world itself. Now, speaking about performance, Monster Hunter at this point right now in this beta version has a little bit of form of a performance issue. What I found during my playthrough in the weekend, if it comes to Monster Hunter, is that especially in the hub area, if you are loading in your hub area, you will see that sometimes the hub itself, the rooms, the tents, and just generally the area itself, it doesn't load themselves correctly. I don't know if it's the stability of the game itself, or it's just the number of people in it. But at this point, right now, it doesn't look very well polished itself. The games doesn't load the areas in the proper way. It's not groundbreaking, but it's just annoying. And you just see like a blind wall itself. You don't understand where you are walking towards. So sometimes you are running with your steed. It looks like you are actually galloping in the air itself. Very weird. Very weird. Beside the specific performance issue, you also have, of course, the frame rate drops that sometimes happens. If you look sometimes in the distance, you can see that the frame rate a little bit drops a little bit. Yeah, there's a little small things. I found it that it's quite annoying, and I hope, of course, during the release on February, they're going to polish this because it is a well-known problem within the PS5 and the PC ports that the performance issue itself, if it comes to Monster Hunter right now, and the beta version is not really this most stable aspect if it comes to the game itself. Is it a game I recommend? 100% yes, because the gameplay itself and is extremely a lot of fun. It's extremely engaging. The world is beautiful and an engaging story itself. It has its problems itself, but the game is still a beta version. But it's 100% a game I recommend you to keep an eye on next year. If it comes to the newest releases that will happen in the very first quarter of 2025. At this point, this game is looking to be an astonishing. Definitely, if they manage to polish the performance issue, it's definitely going to be a runner-up for 2025 as Game of the Year. But if the game comes out, we're definitely going to give you another in-depth review about the game itself and really go to the deepest details and see if they managed to polish the thing that I managed right now if it comes to performance, and they solved it, yes or no. And of course, then we're going to quote it in a proper way and give it a proper score. I personally already pre-ordered my Monster Hunter copy, so I only can say is that keep an eye on this game, or keep an eye on this channel, because we're definitely going to give you a proper walkthrough, gameplay, and guides, tips and tricks, and of course a live stream so you can expect of this game, so you can see for yourself how the game is going to be on early release on February 28th itself. Also, thank you very much for chilling with me, and of course, hopefully you like this content. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, to the channel. I hope I can see you guys next time. One love only. Peace.